Hey kiddos, today we are digging into a brand new skill, but we're going to use a passage that we're familiar with to help us. What we're going to work on today is we're going to work on actually comparing passages, and we're going to do so in an ACT Aspire type format. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to model what that needs to look like, and then I'm going to let you loose to do it on your own for the articles that we've been digging into this week, Rise of Roblox and A Sweet Treat in a Tough Time. Now, this video may be one that you watch multiple times, and you may be using different articles as we go, but that's just kind of day one with this new skill. So when I compare passages, and remember, think back to our text structures talk. When I compare passages, I'm talking about maybe how they're similar, maybe how they're different, maybe both. I'm going to have a question that's going to guide me. Now, in a normal world, I will have already read these passages. I would have already answered some multiple choice questions, just like what we've done this week with Rise of Roblox and A Sweet Treat in a Tough Time. So I will go and I will read the open response question, and I will need to go back into the passage to reread. This matches really well with the skill that we worked on this week of just going back in the passage, of always referring to the passage, going into it, not throwing it to the side and just trying to answer them on our own. We need to go back in that passage and make sure that we're finding the correct information. So today we're going to have a question where we're going to be asked to compare not even two topics in the same text, but topics in two different texts. So today my question is both, I'm seeing that keyword there, right? We know this from text structures. Both moths and butterflies have ways of protecting themselves. How are they similar? And I know from our text structure lessons that similar means same. So as I'm reading, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight evidence of how moths protect themselves, how butterflies protect themselves, and then I'm going to ask myself, how are they similar? Okay, let's read. It says, beautiful butterflies. If you see something flying about and are wondering if it's a butterfly or a moth, look at its wings when it lands. A butterfly's wings are typically folded in half above its back, while a moth usually holds its wings off to the side or over its back. Unlike moths, butterflies fly about during the day, but are still able to protect themselves from predators such as birds and insects. Ooh, I'm hearing about how they protect themselves. They can camouflage themselves into their surroundings. Some butterflies taste bad or are poisonous. If a predator eats a butterfly like this, it can cause them to throw up. This causes a predator to avoid eating butterflies in the future. Their bright colors also remind predators of this. Okay, boom. As I was reading, I was highlighting, right? Because I was like, oh, this is it. This is how they protect themselves right there. So now I have a good idea of how butterflies protect themselves. So now I'm going to read my second passage, which is called Marvelous Moths, and I'm going to do the same thing. Moths have many predators. Oh, okay, so I'm seeing predators, but I haven't seen protect themselves yet, so I'm still reading. Wasps are one of them. They lay their eggs on the moth caterpillars, and the baby wasps eat the caterpillars. Ooh, that's awful. Other animals eat adult moths. These include spiders, birds, and bats. Okay, so I've learned about their predators, but not how they protect themselves. Moths protect themselves by flying at night. Oh, there we go. I'm hearing it. Moths are also able to camouflage themselves using their dull colors. They have spots on their wings that look similar to eyes that might scare away a predator. Some moths, that should have highlighted too, kiddos. I apologize. Some moth caterpillars taste bad or are poisonous. So already I'm hearing a word that I saw in butterflies about how caterpillars taste bad and are poisonous. And that reminds me a lot of my beautiful butterflies. So now that I know kind of how they protect themselves, I need to ask myself, how are they similar? So I'm going back to what I've highlighted. So they both can camouflage. Okay, I saw that, right? I see this word camouflage over here. In moths, I see camouflage here in butterflies, but I also see this part where it says that some butterflies taste bad or are poisonous. If a predator eats them, they'll throw up. Over here, it says caterpillars taste bad or are poisonous. This stops a predator from trying to eat the caterpillar moth in the future. So I really like this idea that they are poisonous. So what I'm going to go do now is I'm going to answer. This is what your open response format is going to look like. Okay, you're going to see three boxes. You're going to see them labeled Part A, Part B, and Part C. Part A, I'm just answering the question, okay? It says both moths and butterflies have a way of protecting themselves. How are they similar? So here, I want you to think about the R-A in wrap. That's what I want you to think about here. R, we know stands for restate. A, we know stands for answer. So that's what I want you thinking about here. So I would say both moths and butterflies can protect themselves by being poisoned. I'm not gonna spell that right. Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. I promise I'm trying to fix the spelling, but it's just not letting me. Protect themselves by being poisonous so that their predators don't eat them. Okay, so I've got my answer, right? Notice, there it goes. It finally is highlighting that it's messed up. Notice that I've not given any evidence. Okay, all I'm doing is answering it very completely. That goes back to the other skill we were working on this week. Answering, even if it's an easy right there question, answering it in complete terms. Okay, so it says, I restated both moths and butterflies can protect themselves by, okay, that's my restate. Then I'm answering being poisonous so that their predators don't eat them. But let's look down at part B. Part B and part C are where it starts to get tricky. It says, oh my goodness gracious. It says, cite evidence from beautiful butterflies to support your answer in part A. Well, we know from RAP that anytime I see something that says cite evidence, I'm always going to start within the text it said. This tells whoever is reading my answer that I am quoting something word for word from the passage. So it says, cite evidence from beautiful butterflies to support your answer in part A. So my answer in part A, kiddos, look at this, says that they are poisonous so their predators don't eat them. So I need to go back to my passage and I need to quote something word for word here. So I would quote something like this. Some butterflies taste bad or are poisonous. If a predator eats a butterfly like this, it can cause them to throw up. That's going to be what I want to write in my answer, because that needs to be quoted word for word, and that's the part that talks about them being poisonous. So if I go back to my answer, okay, come on, internet. We're almost there, kiddos. Hang with me. So sorry. There we go. It says, some butterflies taste bad or are, oh my goodness. I promise I'm typing these little letters, but it's glitching so bad. Taste bad or are poisonous. Come on now. Are poisonous if a predator eats a butterfly like this, it can cause them to throw up. All right, kiddos, this is word for word from the passage, okay? Notice that I have taken careful measure of making sure that all of my words were spelled exactly like they came out of the passage. They're stated exactly like they came out of the passage. You could go back and forth and read them and you wouldn't know any difference because they are the same, okay? That's all I have to do. That's it. And we know how to do this because we know RAP and we're experts at citing evidence, okay? So this really shouldn't be anything different. We're just breaking them into boxes, okay? Then it says part C, cite evidence from Marvelous Moths to support your answer in part A. Well, remember, go back to part A. My answer was that they are poisonous and that helps them protect themselves. So when I go back to Marvelous Moths, if it will load, come on now. If I go back to Marvelous Moths, I see what I've highlighted there about them also being poisonous. So that's going to be what I put into my box here. And remember, anytime I cite evidence, I'm saying in the text it said, and then I'm going to quote my evidence from Marvelous Moths that says some moth caterpillars is a funny word. Taste bad or are poisonous. This will stop a predator from trying to eat a caterpillar, in the future. All right, kiddos, and this is it. That's all you're doing, okay? I would maybe take a picture of this so that you have it, so that you have something to look back on and reference while you're working on your own today, okay? What you are going to do is you are going to now go and look at Roblox. You're going to compare them. Okay, your question is very similar to the question that I've asked myself, and you're going to break it up just like I did in part A, part B, part C. Please, please, please take a picture of this, put it on your desktop, use it to help you as you work through, okay? Reach out to me if you have any questions. Can't wait to see your work today. Good job, kiddos.